my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
You are who you hang out with. They're not likely you're gonna get too far away from your roommates. So if your 5 roommates are all shredded yogi instructors that drink kale smoothies, one of 2 things is likely happening. You're gonna be the 6th, or you're getting new friends, if they're your best friends. That's gonna happen. If all of your friends piss and moan about working and capitalism and being held to a standard, the chances that you're gonna buck that trend for any length of time is very low. And one of 2 things will then happen. You will either become like them or you will get new friends. And that's not some elitist shit. It's just one of the ways we connect is through shared values. And you're gonna have a really hard time being friends with someone closely whose values are wildly different than your own. Like we like to say opposites attract, and it is true when it comes to personality, way less true when it comes to values. You're either going to surrender your values or you're gonna surrender your set of friends.
and slid down so we can see a red suitcase right here for law enforcement if they're watching and you guys would like to come back here. For being out here. So this is what we're doing today. We will see you guys back here real soon.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Hey guys, it's nice to see you here, TGIF, and can you believe it's already September, but it's my birthday month, so it's going to be a great month. I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my bones. Give me just a second. One thing I forgot to do was turn on the microphone, so I'm running off the computer. I was listening to some of this stuff yesterday. It just didn't sound good. I don't know if it'll sound better with the new equipment, but might as well try. I can get it on. There we go. Now give me just a second so I can check my audio on here. There it is. I heard a doot doot doot. Doot doot doot. Let's see here. Yes, we want default speakers. Where's my default? I think it should be coming in on the microphone. Can you guys hear me? Is there a difference? Does it sound better? Not sound good? Let me go to the bottom so I can read. Chadwell, it's nice to see you. I'll go through everybody in just a second. I just want to check the... Can you guys hear that? Do I need to turn it up? Is that better? I don't want to make it too loud. You're not as loud. Okay, how about that? Is that better? It's low. Hopefully we got it up. I can always bring the microphone in. There we go. How about that? That work? Great. Yep. Yep. Who cares? I do. Says bad, bad, bad. Good, great. Does it sound like I'm in a distance? Far away? Does it sound good? Can you guys hear this? That's a kiss to all of you. It says. Oh, it's great to be here. Happy Friday, everyone. I was going to come back yesterday. I got my hair done, and I was just kind of, cooking and cleaning and doing the stuff that I needed to do around the house. Don't ask me why. I got a wild hair up my butt to do it, but I did, and that's what I was doing. So it's just, I've got to take time for those days. I just wanted to say good morning, Ladybug. It's nice to see you, even though you're probably not here anymore, and I hope you have a wonderful day as well. Good morning, Katrina, MJ, Ruby. It's nice to see you. Net L. Tennessee Road. Good, good, good. See you here. See you here. Oh, Lady O, it's nice to have you as well. Jody, Sweet Leaf. XYZ Affair. Nice to see you. What kind of affair do we got going on over there? Right, right. Baby K, it's nice to see you. Unicorn. Pat, as always. Who else do we have in here? Hindsight 2020 with the pink hands. Nice to see you this morning. Second Thesis, GG for life. Chadwell, good morning. Good morning. Bullhorn Betty, love this video. You're such a... I love your efforts and dedication. Thank you. Well, I do that because I haven't really made a whole lot of videos on Layla Santanello over the last few days. And I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to, showcase her case every morning. So the best way I could do that is just kind of having it part of the intro. And at least it's dedicating people's time to look at her video or photo, her flyer, as well as the music kind of catching their attention. So I just like to take a few moments, and I forgot to put the GoFundMe link in the bio of this live, which I've been trying to make sure we do to help support the family that's supporting her child. Also, they're still trying to raise funds for the reward. The good news is the private investigator, God bless everybody that has contributed to Jennifer Santanello's GoFundMe page. She was able to get the private investigator, and I just hope that this private investigator that is from Tennessee, from my understanding, is going to be doing hopefully good work. You really need to have somebody that's in that state, in my opinion. And I'm glad that that's the choice it sounds like that they chose to make. So I'm hopeful that, this private investigator can locate, where people were at what time and whatnot. So hopefully this is a step in the right direction for Layla Santanello's case. And, I'm praying here. I'm praying. You guys know I've got a lot of content with that case. That I'm just not ready to put out there. I don't know when it'll be ready to put out there. We've got the content. I mean, even Pee Wee Gaskins, that video that I did yesterday or the day before, I've had that content for almost 2 years. I'm not lying. You can tell the hair color is different. The hair length's different. It was from a little minute ago. It really was. It was from a little minute ago. So I'm hoping that's not the case with this one, because if that's the case with this one, that means that, it's just hard. It's just hard. So good morning. And, we just do our absolute best. We're trying to coordinate a search party out there for Layla's family, and again, I'm not getting into the whole mom and dad stuff. I'm not going to cause additional problems. We're there for the entire family. We're there to find a missing girl. That's the whole reason why we're there. Nothing else matters except finding Layla and making sure that we have the resources necessary to do so. I'm not sure why there's not a reward out there. Again, still, I've done everything on my end that I can possibly do. I'm going to try to reach out to well, no point. I'll let you know who I reach out to afterwards, but I'll try to reach out to a few people today after this live to see if we can just, what we can do to help move this along. We need a reward fund. From my understanding, there are leads that are just drying up. There's still a lot of information. Somebody knows something, and we need to find that somebody. And I'm hoping somebody steps up to the plate and helps this family with some information by way of providing a lead to law enforcement. And really there's two parts to this entire search, identifying anybody that may have information that needs to be contacted by law enforcement or needs to contact law enforcement. The other is clearing zones. We need to be searching and search parties be out there. But if we also need to make sure if anybody comes across somebody, they know the right questions to ask to identify if that person got any information that will be beneficial to the case, because at the end of the day, law enforcement needs to speak to people. We need more leads generated in the Layla Santanello case, and at the end of the day, she still needs to be found. It was very disheartening that I heard another person on another creator's channel threaten me, literally threaten harm to me if I go out there to search. First of all, don't threaten people. Second of all, why would you threaten anybody that's going out there to help search for a missing girl that needs to clear areas because law enforcement can't do it all by themselves? Why would you go to that level to threaten me, publicly threaten me, and think that that's okay? And it took a while. Like, when you watch this whole thing, it wasn't immediately. Like, she threatened. And then it was like, oh, this is not good. Let's condemn her. Some 10 minutes later, I just thought was really, really sad, really poor behavior. And trust me, I am not intimidated anymore by these people of YouTube. If you think you're going to intimidate somebody publicly, follow them from Georgia to Florida and then to Tennessee, and you think that you're not going to go to jail for stalking, you've got another thing coming. I've got well-documented history specifically for this particular person, including reports here in Manatee County, a claim from Tennessee when she assaulted me. I've got that report. So if you think that that's how it's going to be, I'm not a violent person. I will not fight you. I will not hit you. I will not touch you. I will record you and I will put you in jail where you belong because you are an unhinged person. So do not threaten people. And definitely do not threaten people with bodily harm in a state that allows you to carry a lawful weapon like Tennessee. I will not allow anybody to assault me or cause bodily harm to me. Let me be very clear to the people out there on the streets of YouTube and abroad. Causing bodily harm is a good way for you to go to jail, especially since now you've publicly threatened me. You're making action to come to a state to publicly harm me, and then you're there to harm me. You're talking about felonies here, lady. Felonies. I would be very careful how you proceed. People. But, you know, this is the only way that it's not like I would like to bring this to YouTube because it's drama, but it's also something that has to be documented publicly. So, you know, you're kind of caught in a catch-22 with some of this stuff. Aw, nice to see you, Reggie. Be good. I didn't even know you were a member for 10 months. I have not seen you in a little minute. Well, God bless you. It's nice to see you here. It's nice to see you here, and it warms my heart that you're still supporting this channel when I haven't seen you here in a while. God bless you. God bless you. Mama Llama, it's nice to see you. Who cares? I do. Nice to see you as well, Just Deb. So I hope you guys, you know, as people see this stuff going on YouTube, I really hope that you guys are condemning this. I know many of you are. Sometimes it's just hard, but to watch and to see so much hate and anger in somebody's soul, it's very bothersome to me because most of us out here cover these cases. Yes, we take them personal. In these cases, we take personal, but do we take other YouTubes and YouTube so personal that it consumes our life and we become so overly obsessed with a person? I just find that really very, very, very unhealthy. But let's get our health back, right? Let's get our health back. We always like to start off with the language of letting go here on the Bullhorn Buddy channel. And this one is learn to say I am. Nothing better than to kick off September 1st with us, right? And empowering ourselves. We hear a lot about becoming whole. Oh, I got the wrong glasses on. There we go. There we go. We hear a lot about becoming whole. Become a complete human being. Start on a pathway to becoming whole. You won't find romantic love until you know you're complete. Frankly, these kinds of comments often confused me. But then I decided the wholeness relates directly to the process of detaching and letting go. It's admirable to go after our dreams and to know what we want to accomplish. But after we identify what it is we're after, we need to let it go. We need to know in our hearts and in our soul that if we're okay, whether we get what we are after or not. Another friend described it in this way. It's the old Zen Buddhist thing, he said. When you're one with yourself, life becomes magical. You can get whatever you want. The most powerful and magical words we can say in the language of letting go are these: I am. Then we step up at one notch by learning to say, I am complete, just as I am. God, help me know the power of the word, I am. So what a powerful message that we are complete, whether we get everything we want or not. We need to feel complete in ourselves. We need to know that we're on the path to this goal. Let it go and keep going. Don't let the hurdles get in your way. Don't let the rocks, the boulders, just keep going. Let it go. Find a way. No need to get all upset. No need to get angry. Take a breath, let it go, and keep moving ahead. That's what I got out of that. You may have gotten a different message. Whatever the message that you received today from that entry, own it. Own it. I hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday. I know I am. I'm having a wonderful Friday. I had my hair done yesterday. It always makes a girl feel good. Somebody's saying, oh, you bleached your hair so much. Look at that. Look at that shine. Look at that gorgeous hair. No, it's not burnt off. As a matter of fact, every time I do work to it, it just gets better and better. I think I'm aging pretty well. I gotta be honest with you. I was looking at it. I got a little tiny wrinkle, about to turn 44. Now I'm going blind as a bat. I mean, I hate the eyes. I hate the eyes situation. I got like one little wrinkle. I don't know if you guys can see it right there. I'm getting a little wrinkle right across the forehead. But I for the most part, I'm a middle-aged woman. I feel like a teenager. What can I say? What can I say, right? It's all about how you feel. It's all about how you feel. So, getting on to something, getting on to some more serious topics in today's news. Am I hearing rain again? Okay, no, it's just the sound of the air conditioning coming through the microphone. I'm like, please don't tell me it's raining again. I've had about as much rain as one girl can take. I'm done with the rain. Like, we're waterlogged here in Florida. Go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. So, actually talking about rain, as a matter of fact, kind of segueing right on into this crazy. I got to try to see if I can get this blown up for you guys, because this is freaking insane. This is insane. Let me see if I can get it to play. All right, let me see.
Holy f***, that car's flying! What the
Not funny, but funny. Funny, but not funny.
Holy f***, that car's flying!
This is a car just driving down the road during this hurricane.
Holy f***.
And the wind just picked the car up and just slung it.
What the f***?
So it's like, this is the kind of weather that people were driving in. I don't know, that's why I didn't want to put myself out there like that. It was a little crazy seeing a car flying right in front of, wow. That's all I can say is just wow. I just did a video on this person here this morning about the completely disgusting and filth this woman represents. So this woman is a 22-year-old out of Louisiana, something like Keithville, Louisiana. And she is arrested for stabbing her grandfather in the face with a knife. In the face with a knife. And you are going to flip your crap when you find out why. They asked her to take a shower. She was filthy. She was disgusting. She stunk to high heaven. Her grandparents couldn't take no more, and they asked her to take a shower. Most teenagers would begrudgingly, like, who doesn't want to go, what female doesn't want to go and take a shower? I'm sorry, but anybody knows me, there's a few things about me, and if you've ever worked with me, especially out in the field, you would know that I carry I carry an extra pair of shorts and an extra pair of underwear. I'm sorry. As women, I'm not going to go into personal care here, but let's just say, nope. Girl, you need a shower, okay? All kinds of funky, And she proceeded to start tearing up these grandparents' house. Absolutely just going berserk because they want her to take a shower and wash that stink off of her. And so the grandparents are trying to hold this girl down because she is just absolutely losing her stuff. And she breaks away from the grandparents and goes into the kitchen and grabs a knife and attacks the grandfather. Brutally attacks the grandfather. My understanding, the grandfather is alive. Obviously, he's not doing well, as you can imagine. I mean, he just had a knife in his face, but he's alive. But again, for asking a young 22-year-old to take a shower, she stunk. We have to be careful in this country. It is just a little cray-cray. I gotta be honest with you. This country is starting to terrify me with the kinds of children it's producing. You know, obviously there was some problems in the home where she's got to be living with the grandparents, but I'm sorry, folks. You know what? Sometimes the best thing in life is giving your children a dose of life. We always want to take care of our children and make sure nothing happens to them. But we also need to be preparing them for when we're not here to keep taking care of them. And I think that's the missing message to some parents that overly take care of their children. You know, make sure that their car payment's paid. They're 20-something, 30-something years old living at home with parents. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, life is getting more and more expensive. This is putting a lot of people in sandwich environments. What is sandwich environment? Sandwich homes. It's when you've got mom and dad taking care of grandma and grandpa and taking care of their children. They're sandwiched. And they all have to live under one roof because it's so extremely expensive to live in the United States anymore that people are struggling to make ends meet, and therefore they're having to readjust their life to make way to take care of their family and to have some semblance of a normal life. So this is happening all over the country. I know I've watched it happen here in Manatee County. You know, we had to go and fight. One of our community activists went and fought for accessory dwelling units to be put on the houses. It was really small at one point, and he pushed and pushed. This was years of hard work to allow those to be up to, I think, 750 square feet, which is huge. It's huge. And that's a normal, you could have like a normal size 2-bedroom apartment with 750 square feet. So that has really changed a lot of things in this environment. But, when it comes to this lady here, there's obviously some already issues going on with why a 22-year-old is living at home with mom and or grandma and grandpa. She should be out there working and having her own place and being with her friends. And if she chooses not to bathe, then she chooses not to bathe. But she can do that and should do that on her own time. I found this. Oh, hey, Miss Connie Branch. It's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. Joy, it's nice to see you as well. If I haven't said hi to Be Kind, it's nice to see you. Just Deb, Susan, it's nice to see you. I smell like a rose. Good morning, guys. So this has got to be the funniest thing I think I've heard in a little minute when it's come to the Bryan Kohberger case. Like, I have to be honest with you. This case, I'm very emotional when it comes to the Bryan Kohberger case. Very emotional. We were out there. We had an opportunity to really get to know the victims of this by the work that we did, looking into them, even speaking to the parents of one of the victims of the Idaho 4, the Bryan Kohberger's rampage at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. And so this case I really, really, really take seriously. But there are just some things that I'm just like, you've got to be joking me. Like, you have got to be stinking joking me. Are you joking me right now? Yes. Yes. I'm so sorry, guys. This is not funny, but it's funny. So Bryan Kohberger's claims media are focusing on his crotch as he demands court camera banned. I can promise you, dear. I can promise you. They're probably taking the cameras off your face because you've been complaining about it being in your face, and there's only so many things that they can focus on. Just saying. I doubt your crotch is newsworthy at all. So Nancy Taylor, Jay Logsden, Bryan Kohberger. Really? Like, this made me laugh. You got nothing we want to see, babe. I can assure you that. That's probably why you're in the position you're in, Mr. Kohberger. Like, none of us, and I mean none of us, want to see that. Just saying. So anyways, I'm not lying. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. So Bryan Kohberger claims the media is focusing on his crotch as he demands courtroom ban. We're going to play that video in just a second. But in here, it talks about Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger is seeking a ban of cameras from his high-profile trial after bizarre claims that the media is honing in on his crotch. His crotch. Like, dude, what? You can't make this stuff up. You just can't. You just can't. So the 28-year-old criminal justice PhD student filed a motion on the 24th of August asking Judge John Judge to toss out cameras from the courtroom where he faces charges for the murder of Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. And in the defense motion, his attorney, Ann Taylor, argues that past footage from the court's appearance had focused heavily on his crotch, on his groin area. Now, I'm sorry, but for the love of everything that is holy out there in the world, where would you like them to focus the camera, Ann C. Taylor? Do you want them to focus it on, I mean, how picky are we going to be about this? So it's focusing primarily on his face. Now it's not that. Now I guess all these thumbnails out there on the streets of YouTube and abroad must be, you know, having these crotch shots all over the thumbnails. Is that what we're trying to allege here? Because I don't know if you've got eyeballs or not. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. But I haven't seen any crotch shots on thumbnails. I can assure you there's no crotch shots on this girl's thumbnails from your client. I promise you. I can promise you that the people here on social media, we don't care about his crotch. Oh. I can't even say this with a straight face, guys. I'm trying over here, okay? I'm trying to be professional, darn it. I can't even keep this straight face. Just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh, gosh. What do we got going on here? Why are we talking about water meters? Whose water's high? I can honestly say since I changed the vent and I got my oscillating tool, guess what I'm going to be doing today? I'm going to be finishing the vent, and I got a tube of caulk, so I'm going to caulk right around it. It's going to look so pretty, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I still haven't gotten to the plaster behind the toilet yet. We know that that's going to be on the to-do list here shortly. I haven't done it. I'm not ready for the comedy hour of my plumber crack being exposed to all of you while I'm bending over trying to, you know, fix a hole in the wall with plaster that I've never worked with. And you know what? And I have not even not one time dealt with plaster. I don't even know how I'm going to put the grate in. Like, there's nothing behind this, so I've got to get creative. I don't know what I'm doing. But you know what? I've got a beautiful brain, and I've been in construction my whole life, so if I can't figure out how to float a plaster wall, maybe I need to become a content creator and quit my day job. I'm just saying. So I just thought this was interesting. And this is not the only one. Let's go back and see what's in that video. I want to see what's in this video. I hope it's good. I have not watched it. I'll be honest with you. I have not watched it at all. So let's just see. We never know, right? We always, every now and again, we'll get a little lucky. We're going to watch a commercial.
Hey, iBuyDirect here. We take the hassle out of buying eyewear by sending the store to your screen. Like to switch up your look? Shop 3,000 styles starting at $6 and express every vision of you. Our virtual try-on lets you try before you buy straight from your...
See what we got going on here. I hear sound, but it sounds like this is the old one. I remember when they all came in walking and smiling. She had her face on. I don't think this is this one. Unless that's what he was wearing this time.
All rise. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Good afternoon, everybody.
I think that's old footage. That's got to be old footage. I recognize that footage. I recognize everything when it comes to this case. So that can't be with this one. Arrives at court hearing. This is from an hour ago. I don't know. I just don't know. But I'm not going to play it because that looks old. And it just is. So let me go over to the next one. I just happened to see that. I didn't see that the first go round. But here's something here. And this is on Newsweek. Maybe it is him. Maybe that was him. Maybe she did her hair the same. Maybe they're wearing the same stuff that they wore before. So it says, Judge in Bryan Kohberger's case has issued a scheduling order outlining key dates. Judge John Judge heard hours of arguments on August 18th. So that's all about August 18th. This is not really, at least the videos aren't. But we'll go play this.
Bryan Kohberger's attorneys fight over footage of his crotch. By Matthew Impelli. Lawyers for Idaho quadruple murder suspect Bryan Kohberger recently argued that cameras in court are focusing too much on their client's crotch and should be removed from future hearings. Last week, lawyers for Kohberger filed a motion in court for the removal, citing several issues with past camera footage, including a claim that some cameras have been targeting his fly. Mr. Kohberger is entitled to defend himself against capital criminal charges without cameras focused on his fly, Kohberger's lawyers said in a motion August 24th. On Wednesday, several media outlets, including the Associated Press, filed a motion to intervene, asking the court to allow cameras in Kohberger's coming hearings. In addition, although
they're intervening to ask if they can focus on his crotch. I'm sorry. This is just... How can you keep a straight face? That is a monotone. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be screaming at you guys. Oh, good Lord. That is a monotone audio podcast of this. I'm sorry. I didn't think that this topic of conversation was going to be so hard for me to keep a straight face. I really didn't. And again, this is... The seriousness of this case is serious, but you know what? This is funny. This is just too funny. I'm going to start this over again for those that are just tuning in and don't understand why I am crying and laughing at the same time. I can't keep a straight face with this. I just can't. I'm trying.
attorneys fight over footage of his crotch. By Matthew Impelli. Lawyers for Idaho quadruple murder suspect Bryan Kohberger recently argued that cameras in court are focusing too much on their client's crotch and should be removed from future hearings. Last week, lawyers for Kohberger filed a motion in court for the removal, citing several issues with past camera footage, including a claim that some cameras have been targeting his fly. Mr. Kohberger is entitled to defend himself against capital criminal charges without cameras focused on his fly, Kohberger's lawyers said in a motion August 24th. On Wednesday, several media outlets, including the Associated Press, filed a motion to intervene, asking the court to allow cameras in Kohberger's coming hearings. In addition, although Mr. Kohberger argues that he is entitled to defend himself against capital charges without cameras focused on his fly, that assertion misstates the role that courtroom camera coverage played in the X, formerly Twitter, social media post that appears at page 3 of his motion. No photographs or camera coverage focused on Mr. Kohberger's fly, the motion filed by the news outlet said. Kohberger, 28, was charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and...
Oh my
One
God,
count of
guys,
felony-
you cannot make this stuff up. I'm sorry. I'm over here and slap tears. This is the funniest shit I have ever heard in a case in my life. Okay. All right. I'm trying. OMG. Okay. Well, I'm not focused on that man's fly, and I'm wondering if I should intervene in the court hearing. Satire. I don't want people getting their britches in a wad, right? Their panties in a wad, their drawers in a wad, right? I don't want none of that. But should we be intervening so we can focus on his crotch? I mean, I don't know. I think I think he's pretty fly for a white guy. I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't. I can't. I'm trying. This out of this entire case. I mean, that one pleading that Jay Logsden wrote. What was it? I think it was related to the investigative genealogy. I think it was the objection to the motion for protective order. If I'm just trying to. I'm going through my brain. Was it unzipped? I don't know. I'm not looking. I'm not going back to look. Now you know what this created. You know what this has done. Mark my words. Mark my words. Now, no matter what, because this is the argument, okay? Because this is the argument. Now, no matter what, every time he walks in, our eyes are going to go directly to his crotch. I'm not lying. Watch. I bet my bottom dollar. Now, every time he walks into that courtroom, our eyes are going to go directly on his crotch because of this argument. And it's going to be so subconscious, and we're just going to be grossed out every time he walks into the courtroom. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm telling you. Watch. And you guys are gonna do it. He's gonna walk in, and you're gonna notice it, because I just reminded you that that's what's gonna happen, and you're gonna be saying, I can't believe she called this. Watch. I guarantee it. We're gonna be on crotch watch now. Sure are. Crotch watch 2.0. Crotchgate. Should we call it Crotchgate? Crotchgate 2023? You can't make this stuff up, guys. I swear to God, you can't make this stuff up. We're going to be going Crotch Watch 2023, okay? We were on Crotch Watch today, but the hearing's been vacated, okay? So no Crotch Watch today. I will monitor the docket, and I'll let you know when crotch rot. This is what happens when you go live. Things just kind of accidentally fall out that you don't intend to say. Glad we caught that one. Guys, I still can't. I can't even go on with the rest of the show. I just can't. I can't. Okay. Right? Okay. I'm trying. I'm struggling here today, okay? You know what? We have to give props to mainstream media, because I really don't know how they keep a straight face with some of the stuff that they do. But you got to remember, they also record, right? It's very rare that we get live broadcasts anymore, except at certain times of the day. We get live shows, right? And even those live shows make a mistake every now and again. I think we need to go. You know what? We got homework today. We have almost 200 people. I want you guys to search the videos of articles that discuss the crotch watch, right? And I want you guys to clip all of their faces as they are saying it and send it to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I've got to stream this stuff together. We need, think of how funny that would be on a video talking about crotch watch. Bryan Kohberger crotch watch, right? We are all accused of doing the unthinkable. Bryan Kohberger We are all looking at your junk because you are just this magnificent hunk of hubba hubba, baby. We just want that fly shot, babe, right? Because you're so fly for a white guy. Got it. Got it. I wanted to find the memes. Maybe we need to create some. I'm sorry. You guys know we were going to have fun with this. You know we were going to have fun with this. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Let's get this. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. All right. Looks like we have 11 second. I don't know if this is one that's going to be. I think this is over. And then we can hear the. This is a News Nation clip.
Just the exigencies, the issues, the points on both sides of whether or not you should do this. Because like people, some of us, like me, for instance, cameras in the courtroom every time.
Chris Como. Chris, are you also on Crotch Watch 2023? I think we all are. I think we all are. We're addicted to the fly.
I don't know why we would ever not want them unless they're going to throw something about kids at you. So, got the lawyers from the two biggest murder trials that this country really has ever seen or not seen. Okay? OJ, all right, that was seen. Professor Alan Dershowitz is here with us, consulted on that trial. He is also the author of Get Trump, which is, always a relevant read, but now increasingly so. Now, we also have high-profile defense attorney Mark Geragos, okay? Scott Peterson, where I met the inestimable Geragos.
All right,
he
let's
did
get on
not
past all
want
this.
Provides for the right to a public trial, and I think public means as public as the technology permits. Back in the day, obviously, all that meant is newspaper journalists with pens and paper could take notes. Today, it means television. If television is not disruptive, if it doesn't violate the rights of defendants, the presumption should be that all of our institutions should be open to public view. And therefore, I think there is a federal constitutional interest in having cameras in the courtroom. The courts have said no. The courts have said we're going to leave it to the states to determine. Right now, the federal courts don't allow it, but with some exceptions. For example, in the decision overruling Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court made an exception and allowed live audio coverage because it was in the public interest. Now, forgetting about for 1 minute this case, the Trump cases definitely should be on television.
Okay, well, we're not getting into the political aspect of it. We're just getting into the argument of whether court cameras should be in the courtroom of this case. So I'm glad they didn't bring up the crotch. Sorry, I didn't realize my echo was up. I must have hit it. The crotch watch. But I'm telling you, this, and we're going to be getting into it because we did pull up the docket, of course. We always do. We always go through some stuff. There's some other stuff in here that was a little different. This is kind of a, oh, you don't see it on your case or on your screen yet. Let me just pull this up just a little bit bigger for you guys so you guys can see it. So this is a request to obtain approval to video and audio record broadcasts and photograph of, the court proceedings. And so it's almost like some of these people are submitting their resume, so to speak, to the courts in the Bryan Kohberger case. Now, I don't know if that is necessarily the, how it works there or not, but it appears that this is what it says. So it says, I have read Rule 45 of the Idaho Court Administrative Rules permitting cameras in the courtroom and will be complying in all respects with the provisions of that rule, and will also make certain that all other persons from my organization participating in video or audio recording or broadcasting or photographing of the court proceedings have read Rule 45 of the Idaho Court Administrative Rules and will comply in all respects with the provision of that rule. And that's from a Jessica Thill from Court TV Media. That's one. And then we have another one that kind of came in as well. This one was more handwritten on a form request. And this one here is, does it say who it's from? It doesn't really say who it's from. Oh, KXLY, and it's a Misty Reed from KXLY asking for the same thing. They're saying that I've read the Rule 45 and requesting that I'm permitted to be the pooled photographer. And so Judge John Judge has denied it and signed it. This one probably also the same, probably has denied it, yep, and signed it. So they're asking to be their pooled camera person. And on how the pooled camera aspect works is one camera, it might be one or two, one or two industries like businesses, broadcasters like ABC or Fox, and it might just be one, like say just Fox or ABC or even just Court TV. And then they have a still photographer that's in there, and typically how the rules work is that the shutter has to be a silent shutter. You can't hear it, you can't make a lot of distractive movements or noises in the courtroom. You've got to kind of make sure you're not disrupting the proceedings, is basically how it's stated. So they find it easier just to have a pooled photographer and a pooled videographer, and that pooled photographer and pooled videographer is responsible for distributing that material out to all the organizations, and it levels the playing field where that company is not getting that footage and it's theirs. They cannot claim a copyright on it, and they must distribute it to the other organizations. That's part of the order, that they are to distribute that out, no questions asked, to whomever, because they are just being the person that has the fiduciary responsibility of taking the footage, and then they're responsible for submitting it out. Now, there are other rules for them to take that videography and photography, like in the rules in this case, they're not allowed to focus predominantly on Bryan Kohberger. So the videographer is required to be panning that camera around and not focusing just on Bryan Kohberger. Now, if that videographer violates that rule, violates that trust, violates the court order, then the judge may have the discretion to move those cameras and videographers out of the courtroom. He has the opportunity to change the pooled videographer and photographer if he feels like they're not meeting his expectations. So there's some things that they can do. I don't know if this is the answer. It seems like this judge he seems to be, you guys know how I felt at first. I really didn't like all the pushback of the unfair balance of the First Amendment versus the rights of the fair trial. But now I'm kind of seeing where the judge is going with this. He's maintaining his stronghold on that. But as long as you're keeping within these parameters, he's not really, there's not really any complaints or any violation of that. So I think, now that it's been here, I think it's fair. I still think he was a little too favorable for the fair trial aspect, but what harm could that do? I think is the mentality of that, and I have to agree. But it seems like he realizes that he doesn't want to flood his community with people coming to these hearings, and I think this judge is smart enough to know that there is a benefit to having these court videos, these cameras in the courtroom. I think he's understanding, because that they're in the courtroom, it is stopping a lot of people that would normally be spending money to be there in person. It's kind of removing them from the community because they have a tap into the information as is. They have that tap. So I really think he's doing his community a service by having these cameras in the courtroom to help alleviate the amount of people that will be undoubtedly going to these hearings and trial. So I think it's a benefit. I think he's realizing that there is some type of happy medium here, and I kind of really believe that he may give a stronger directive if he feels that they violated. Like, I feel like the defense is just grasping at straws here. I think they're starting to look desperate, and their pleadings are starting to be desperate. And I think that that's really coming out. They're fighting for Bryan Kohberger's life, and so far they have not disputed anything against him yet. They have not provided an alibi for him, that he was so eager to get back to Idaho to exonerate himself, and yet it's been pulling teeth to even get an alibi out of the defense. an alibi that they are confident in arguing. So they're you can see that they're having some major problems with their case. That's whether we have the cameras in the courtroom or not, they can't stop us from discussing that, because it's the reality of the situation. You're seeing their struggle. You're seeing them grasping at straws here. You're seeing them, push, trying to maintain that speedy trial. And then as soon as they realize that they're kind of, screwed, so to speak, they're ready to waive that speedy trial. And granted, that is Bryan's right to waive. I mean, that's in the law for a reason. It's for this reason right here. If you can, if you are prepared to go in that 6 months, go, right? That's a great legal strategy. If you're prepared to argue, argue. It really puts the state in a pickle, and vice versa. It could, depending on, the evidence. But when you have a situation like this, you really need to slow it down a lot, because you never know what is going to help your client. I don't think anything's really going to help Bryan in this case. I just don't. He made entirely too many mistakes. I don't think he understood, even with his exemplary and advanced education, PhD in the criminology field, and taking and understanding the use of digital means. Still, he made a lot of mistakes, a lot of crucial mistakes that I just feel is going to be the double-edged sword when it comes to the trial. Lots of mistakes. This day and age, if you're online in any, there's nothing you can really hide. You can't hide anything. Your IP service provider, right? Your IPS, your internet or ISP, your internet service provider, tracks every single thing you do. When you're not home on your internet service provider, you're on your Wi-Fi. Again, logging every single step. So this day and age, even when he turned his phone off, they were able to track him. And I guarantee they probably haven't received the report from the OnStar or from GM or from whoever has the black box or understands the black box in his car. So you're being tracked literally 24/7. It's, like I said, it's a little creepy when you look at it like that, but we did it to ourselves. We put everything that we want on these phones, even when our service provider is not tracking us. These apps are. The Walmart app wants to know what we're in Target looking at, right? Because they've got it cheaper, and they want to let you know. And that next time you pop it up, and we're looking at this floral print bed, bed in a bag, right? And then all of a sudden, you're in Target, you're looking at this, and all of a sudden you're looking on your phone, you get this little ad next to it of a similar floral print at Walmart that's, $10 cheaper. That's the kind of tracking, that's data mining that people don't understand. We're followed everywhere we go. We're not getting away from anything. We may think we're sneaky and stuff, but literally, and I even did the reason why I don't have those what are they, VPNs? Like, I heard these VPNs, they don't, the government knows what you're doing. Your IP service provider knows what you're doing. Unless you've got some really advanced stuff, I don't see how you're getting around the internet service provider. I looked into it, and it's like, why would I pay $19 a month for a VPN when you look at everything, they're still tracking you. And the VPNs that are used in the United States are required to keep records. So if they don't, they're violating U.S. law. I'm like, what? I didn't know that. And they block certain VPNs out of the United States because they won't comply. So you're tracked. You're tracked. Period. Oh, sorry. And so here is this notice Let me share this one with you guys and blow this up. It's not blowing up. Sorry, guys. It's not letting me. There we go. Can you guys see that? Okay, so it basically says that the hearing on the state's motion for protective order and defendant's third motion to compel held on August 18th, the court allowed the state to reserve cross-examination of two witnesses, Gabrielle Vargas, who the defense disclosed without a CV the day before the hearing, and Leah Larkin, for whom the defense disclosed a PowerPoint presentation for the first time during her direct examination. The state has determined that it need not cross-examine either of the witnesses. In addition, the state mentioned during its argument at the hearing that Judge Whitney in Canyon County ruled on similar issues 1 week prior to the hearing, that the state would provide the written ruling once available. The transcript of the hearing is now available, and the relevant portion of the transcript is attached as Exhibit A. Finally, at the hearing on August 23rd, the defense counsel suggested in open court that the state had improperly contacted Ms. Vargas. The state has attached under seal as Exhibit B the report and other records that explain the contact. The state would ask the court to grant the request for protective order or permit the state to present the information it seeks to protect the court in an in-camera hearing. So I don't know if this is attached. This is a transcript of the proceedings. I, Kimberly, one of the duly qualified official reporters. Okay. They were involved in the examination of one of the hairs recovered from the victim's underwear, and that is why we are making this request. That is the only way we can get this information from them, the court. All right, so that motion is granted. I will sign the order, or rather, I will sign the subpoena. All right, next issue is the state's motion in limine for non-disclosure of the protective order barring disclosure that was filed on July 14th, 2023. And Mr. Lagerwall and Mr. Jorgensen, who is going to be addressing that issue. I'll be addressing that issue, Judge. Okay, do you wish to be heard on the motion? Yes, Your Honor. Go ahead. Thank you, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, as to the legal argument contained in the state's brief or memorandum in support of the motion in limine, I don't have much to add. So what I would like to do is give the court for the record for a general overview specifically of what we're asking not to be disclosed and why. And then if the court has any questions for me as to the nature of this investigation, investigative genetic genealogy, or our legal argument, I will defer to the court. But the overreaching purpose of this motion, Judge, is to ensure that the state is fully transparent both with the court and with the defense regarding the investigation of the case and what evidence the state will or in this case will not be introducing at trial. Because we know we will not be introducing any of the evidence at trial, that is why we believe it is not discoverable and is immaterial to the defense's preparation. That being said, it is not the state's I can't even pronounce this word, prerogative. Sorry guys, I had to look at it for a second. And it says, that being said, it's not the state's prerogative to decide or dictate what is and what is not discoverable, and that is why we brought this motion before the court. With respect as to what is investigative genealogy, investigative genetic genealogy, I would just also note for the record that Section 3 in the factual and procedural background of our memorandum is really more of an offer of proof, or rather the state's recitation, is that right? Yeah, recitation of the facts as we understand them. Section 1 and 2 really just detail the history of the case. I don't think there's any dispute as to the background, but as to Section 3, I just wanted to clarify we are not asking the court to make findings of facts. We are offering to the court's understanding of the investigative practices. So they've been really firing away at this genetic genealogy. And I'm kind of conflicted with the genetic genealogy and the legal argument in this matter as well. Sorry, I was reading. I may have missed some of your comments. But I'm kind of conflicted because there's a piece of me that feels like no matter what you do, if you have information when you're dealing with a criminal case, you have to turn that over unless there's a privilege attached. If there's a privilege attached, you have a privilege log. You know, you put what it is and why you feel that that item is privileged. And so you've got this issue going on here where they're not turning it over, because even if they turned it over to them, it doesn't mean that they can, even though it's turned over to them, it doesn't mean that they can bring it to trial. Just because it's given to them, you have different, you have motions to suppress, motions in limine, you have motions for protective order. You've got a lot of different remedies to keep stuff out, even if it's given to the defense. So it's always been, you know, you never want to give them anything that they're not entitled to. But you want to make sure that you give them everything that they are entitled to. And when there's a conflict between what they're entitled to and what you feel they're not entitled to, then you have a motion to compel and you have to bring it before the judge, and the judge is going to have to decide one way or another. Is he going to allow this to, you know, to be brought forward? So there's a piece of me that believes that no matter what, they should have been provided this information. If they have any documents related to it, if they don't, just say they don't. But, you know, to me, it seems like it should have been turned over and then argued that it's not relevant to the case and suppress it, or do a motion in limine, get it just thrown out where they can't use it. Now, it's not going to stop them from, if a door is open during trial, them being able to get it in. You know, that we saw that with Alex Murdaugh's case. You know, there was times when they fought and fought and fought to have something excluded because the probative value didn't outweigh the prejudice. And when that happened, they argued it, and the judge ruled that they could not bring that in. But then they get up on the stand and they open the door, and now it's brought in. So all that work to get it excluded from the trial, they made a foolish mistake and got it brought in after all that fighting. So, you know, I don't know. I just don't. So there's some things being filed in the case that are going to be filed under seal, you know, because they don't want to show their hand. It's not something that the public needs to know or needs to know now. We also have a motion to continue hearing date. As you guys know, there was an intervention into this case, limited intervention from media. Obviously, kicking court cameras out of the courtroom is something that is, you know, these media companies will intervene and get lawyers involved when it starts hindering their ability to do their job and it violates the law. So they're going to be preserving their rights in this matter. So we do have that. They did ask if they could please, you know, continue this hearing. So it says, I'll just read it to you. I'm not going to show it to you. It says, let me get my glasses on. It says, proposed interveners move the court for an order continuing the September 1st, 2023 hearing date on defendant Bryan Kohberger's motion to remove cameras from the courtroom. Proposed interveners separately are moving to intervene with a limited purpose of opposing Bryan Kohberger's motion. The motion was filed August 24, 2023, with a hearing set 8 days later. Although the proposed interveners are responding as quickly as they can, counsel for the proposed interveners will be out of town on September 1st for a long scheduled travel. Proposed interveners also seek additional time to fully respond to Bryan Kohberger's motion. Accordingly, the proposed interveners seek a continuance of at least 1 week to a date convenient to the court and the parties. And that was from Wendy Olson. So it sounds like, because we heard that the hearing has been vacated, and I believe a new hearing will be forthcoming. But we'll keep going down this. This is the motion to intervene, and it says on June 23rd, 2023, this court entered an order allowing 20 media outlets with the Associated Press as a lead media outlet to intervene in this case for the limited purposes of challenging and then in place amended non-dissemination order granting motion to intervene for the limited purposes at 1-2. A nearly identical media coalition at this time consisting of 13 outlets again seeking to intervene, this time for the limited purposes of opposing Bryan C. Kohberger's motion to remove cameras from the courtroom, and the motion in parentheses filed August 24th, 2023, and currently set for hearing September 1st. Idaho State Supreme Court Associated Press versus 2nd District 529, it's just case law. It says it made clear that the absence of specific rules in Idaho, intervention by media on a limited basis is appropriate to defend the public's right to access and free speech. So I think that this free speech, is as protective as Judge John Judge has been for the right to a fair trial. I think he's going to be equally passionate about the First Amendment as long as it's not interfering with the rights of the fair trial, which I don't think, I personally haven't seen anything so egregious that it rises to that level of where they should be kicking, excuse me, they should be kicking, cameras out of the courtroom. And again, I think that the judge is balancing the fact that if he does kick these cameras out of the courtroom, the level of participation coming into that community and going into that small courtroom will definitely happen. And I think, he's trying to balance this the best he can with the best situation, the best. At the end of the day, they have a small courthouse, a small courtroom. If they remove all these cameras, people are going to be required to come there, period. And that's going to just flood their streets. It's going to bring media out there in the community where right now people are, still reeling from the actual tragedy that happened on November 13th, 2022. They're having to relive this as this is proceeding in this court hearing in this courtroom. They're having to relive it every time there's a hearing here and a bunch of media comes in and just converges on Moscow, Idaho. They have to relive this. And all those media have to be out in the public because they've got to eat, they've got to, get drinks, they've got to get gas in their car, they've got, they're still, so you can't help but to have conversations with them. And a lot of the community people out there are just kind of over the media. And I it's not that I don't understand their position, but it's, again, a situation that is out of their control. There's nothing to stop it. There's laws that protect it. And this is what this Moscow community is going to be facing for, obviously the foreseeable future, because Bryan did waive his rights to a speedy trial. And so now we're going to be slowing this down. And now he's going to, he's got time. He's got time. So it says a broader review of the Media Coalition story following the court's June 27, 2023 statement show that the Media Coalition participants and other longtime media outlets have followed the court's direction. For example, KTVB story covering the January 23, 2023 hearing showed a variety of camera shots, including a broad shot that showed the entire courtroom, both counsel tables and the bench, a close-up of the judge, a slightly zoomed-in shot of Mr. Kohberger and his counsel, in which the Zoom feed also could be seen. Still shots of the victims and the interview of the legal analysis. And so they've been putting some of the some of the links in here from those stories that they're referring to in this legal document here. And ABC coverage on Good Morning America in August showed a variety of shots of the courtroom, the defendant with still photos, stock footage of earlier developments in the case. The coverage also provided a balanced coverage of the state's and Mr. Kohberger's position on the motion before the court. These stories did not focus exclusively on the footage or close-ups of Mr. Kohberger, and I think that we all can agree with that because we've all seen Bryan Kohberger's hearings. We've all watched them ourselves. I can personally say that I don't see them, paying so much attention to just Bryan Kohberger. I really truly believe they're honoring the direction and the directive of the court and the court order for cameras in the courtroom. From everything that I see, I don't see them breaking the rules or breaking the court order. I don't see it. Again, I think this is another weak argument, just something to keep this case going forward. They've got an angle. They're trying to buy time. This is another way to buy time. It's a garbage argument. I haven't seen, nor has anybody, we haven't even heard of any complaints going on from the courts or otherwise until this motion was filed. So I feel like it's just a nothing burger. It's just a game that's being played. And that is true. I mean, that is what we're here for. I mean, this is a strategical game. This is a game of chess whenever you're in these courtrooms. And, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. But I just feel like this is more or less, lashing out. I'm not going to go over the order vacating the hearing on the defendant's motion. I saw that another creator went over that this morning, but I just wanted to give you guys a little light commentary on, Bryan Kohberger and the situation and just bring everybody up to speed on this channel. But it's the crotch watch, man. I'm sorry. We're going to have to go back to that. We're going to have to listen to that again because I'm telling you, it had me on the floor. Like, I couldn't quit. There were tears rolling down my face, right? There were literally tears rolling down my face when we were watching this, and I'm just... We only got through 100... We still had like 3 seconds left of this story. Okay, guys? Okay, if you have to go to the bathroom now, would probably be the best time to go to the bathroom. You don't want to pee yourself, okay? This is funny. I'm already starting to laugh. My cheeks are already starting to hurt, and my eyes are already starting to water, and I haven't even started playing it yet. Just remember, he's fly for a white guy.
Bryan Kohberger's attorneys fight over footage of his crotch by Matthew Impelli.
I can't do it.
Lawyers for Idaho quadruple murder suspect Bryan Kohberger recently argued that cameras in court are focusing too much on their client's crotch and should be removed from future hearings. Last week, lawyers for Kohberger filed a motion in court for the removal, citing several issues with past camera footage, including a claim that some cameras have been targeting his fly. Mr. Kohberger is entitled to defend himself against capital criminal charges without cameras focused on his fly, Kohberger's lawyers said in a motion August 24th. On Wednesday, several media outlets, including the Associated Press, filed a motion to intervene, asking the court to allow cameras in Kohberger's coming hearings. In addition, although Mr. Kohberger argues that he is entitled to defend himself against capital charges without cameras focused on his fly, that assertion misstates the role that courtroom camera coverage played in the
This is probably why they had to type this into a machine and make like an audio of it, because I don't see anybody. I just don't see anybody discussing this with a straight face. I don't know how, like, you can write it, but there's no good way to try to bring this to the news without just dying laughing. Like, it's Zippergate 101. It's Crotch Watch 2023. Whatever you want. Pick your poison. This stuff, you can't make this stuff up. You just can't. It's just, this is insane. So, anyways, I don't even know what to say. Every time I come back to this, I just can't even think. I'm laughing so hard. Lordy. All right, let's get off the crotch, guys. You nasty people. Always all about Bryan Kohberger. Don't you guys ever just mind your own damn business? I'm just joking. Yes, we are coming. We're going to circle into Rex Heuermann here. Just to give our audience a little up-to-date on the list, on the Gilgo Beach serial killer, Long Island serial killer, whatever you want to call this evil, despicable man that has targeted women for over 30 years. There's definitely a lot more out there. And this was pretty interesting because we know that officer, that chief of police that was there during this case that wasn't working with the FBI, he was corrupt as all, you guys can figure it out. He's just corrupt. Well, he just recently arrested for, trying to pick up a girl. Yes, one of them. And so that they're saying that here that the Dirty Cops case against the Gilgo suspect Rex Heuermann is tainted by the arrest of the ex-cop who may be killer, says John Wayne Gacy's lawyer. And I'm not sure. So Karen Conti, which is John Wayne Gacy's death row lawyers, told U.S. Sun that the arrest of Burke and his troubling history of corruption and deviance will be seized upon by Heuermann's attorney to sow doubt in the minds of the jury at trial. Remember, we ourselves thought this old chief or whoever that Burke guy was, that just was recently arrested, we all were talking about it. Remember, I felt like when we were looking at this, there was stuff going on around the 90s, the end of the 90s, people were getting dismembered, we got Peaches, we got Cherry, we got a baby, that was out there, and it just felt really definitely not of what we know Rex Heuermann's appetite is. This was a little more depraved, with the Fire Island girl, right? And I don't know how to explain it. It just you graduate up, you don't graduate down. And so since the main dismemberment aspect of it happened in the 90s, that was before the Gilgo 4 that they found in between 2010 and 2011. So the other ones were a lot more depraved and gory earlier. So that's why I say it doesn't feel to me that would be, it seems like if Rex was to go to that extent, it seems like the Gilgo, because the Gilgo 4 were later in life than the 96 and 90s deaths and dismemberments, it seems like those would have been the Gilgo 4, because you don't downgrade your appetite. Your appetite for depravity almost increases as opposed to decreases. So again, what I'm trying to say is that the dismemberment would have been with the Gilgo 4, not the earlier stuff. It's backwards. It's backwards with what we know of these type of killers. And so we talked about the potential of it being a cop, because a cop would have known the value of the dismemberment aspect, spreading it out. A cop would have, this was back in the 90s. This was in New York. This was back when they had the major crack epidemic that was going on in their streets. People were just getting brutalized and murdered in their streets. The drugs weren't killing them. People were killing each other, fighting over the drugs, fighting over the money, having their corners and streets and spots and stuff like that. It was becoming a bloodbath during that. And there was a lot of corruption, a lot of corrupt law enforcement, much like Chief Burke. Right? He was sucked into it too. So with him constantly putting up walls with the FBI and not willing to work with the FBI, is it possible that he did it because of the corruption? Or is it possible because he could have been the contributor of the more depraved 96 dismemberment type things that would bode well with somebody that was well informed with law enforcement, their procedures at the time, and knowing how incredibly difficult it would be to find the killer. And then moreover, you're the chief of police and you're distracting the FBI. So, I mean, this does play into this, and this would be, even if not true, even if this case, even if Burke had nothing to do with those other cases, this is still right for something the defense attorneys will definitely use to put doubt in the minds of their jury. Like I think at this point, it would be foolish for us to not think that there was two killers dumping bodies out there 10 years apart. It would be foolish for us because the MOs are different. The MOs are different. One came with a staging of bodies, with ligatures and things of that nature. And the other one was more disgusting, depraved, and took a lot more evil to carry out, because we'll leave it at that. So in this particular article that I'm reviewing here related to Rex Heuermann and this whole situation with Chief Burke and his arrest, you know, this is John, many of you know, John Wayne Gacy, one of the most notorious serial killers of American history, and there's his attorney, Karen Conti. Burke, 58, was arrested last week after allegedly attempting to solicit sex from an undercover park ranger during a sting operation at a well-known gay hookup spot in Farmingville, New York. For 3 tumultuous years, he served as chief of Suffolk County Police before he was forced to resign in 2015 following his arrest for beating a suspect who'd stolen a duffel bag filled with toys and porn from his car. Scandals after scandals would follow, including accusation that Burke harbored a culture of corruption with the Suffolk County ranks, often enlisting services of sex workers and consumed hard narcotics. So this guy, this police chief, is just bad news. And there he is right there, and he's going to be causing problems in a case that already has been littered with problems. It's sad, and it's sad to the victims, and it's sad to the victim's family that this law enforcement that was supposed to be dedicated to serving and protecting the people in his community robbed them. And he's robbing the victims, and he has robbed the victims over 10 years because he chose to play games with these victims' lives. And you know what? Because of his games, Rex Heuermann was able to stay out and literally continue his stalking and preying on women that were already struggling. He's a coward. He's weak. And this law enforcement failed. This whole body failed these victims, and primarily that guy right there, next to Rex Heuermann. South Carolina Sheriff's Office mulls possible links between Rex Heuermann and a 2017 missing person case. Remember, this is the case that we discussed where the daughter, a friend of the family, reached out to the daughter and said, you know, this serial killer's there. And when she looked at the picture of the man, she's like, that's who was with my mom the last time I saw her. So it freaked out. It freaked this girl out. She went to law enforcement, and now Sumter County Sheriffs are looking into the possibility of any kind of connection link between that 2017 case. And again, had we not, and this is not just, you know, mainstream media, but also social media, if it wasn't for people like us covering this case, it is possible that this young girl may never have learned of this man's name. Again, this is not being picked up too much in South Carolina, and people there aren't, maybe now, but when this was coming on and getting out, it was all in New York. It really wasn't hitting South Carolina yet. There was no way that people were even hardly hearing about Rex Heuermann having a property there, or the fact that he was a serial killer. So this did help this woman find and you know, identify that Rex Heuermann was the last to be seen with her mother, and he was driving the Chevy Avalanche. So we're going to be monitoring that case as well. And there's just a few more things going on here, and I think that's about it. We've got a couple things about, well, I might as well play this, about Alex Murdaugh. This is just kind of updating you guys just a little bit with the cases that we typically cover. So here, let me just see what they've got to say here. I went through all this stuff this morning, but I can't remember everything.
Meal drops half price.
Cameron Bob here at the First Alert Desk. We've got brand new information just into the newsroom about Alex Murdaugh. He has actually lost several prison privileges after violating inmate policy, that according to the South Carolina Department of Corrections. And as a reminder, he's currently 5 sentences after being convicted earlier this year of killing his wife and his youngest son. Paul. Now, we'll give you a little bit more information about this. We just got this in. Again, Alec Murdaugh has lost some prison privileges. They involve 2 internal disciplinary charges involving him conducting a news interview with his attorney, Jim Griffin, and then using another inmate's PIN to make a call. Again, all of this according to the South Carolina Department of Corrections. Officials say Murdaugh had a disciplinary hearing for these charges on Monday, and he lost his telephone and canteen privileges for 30 days. Again, SCDC says these violate inmate interview policy and their policy against inmates sharing their PIN numbers. These are not a violation of law. They did make that clear. Now, when the information reached the department on August 8th about Murdaugh conducting that news interview with his attorney, Jim Griffin, Murdaugh's tablet and phone privileges were immediately revoked.
So there you guys have it. I don't know if you guys could hear that well. I couldn't hear that really well on my end. The audio was really bad. I'm not sure. It was from their feed, not ours. But I could barely hear it. But it basically says that he conducted an interview. I'm not sure if you guys heard about this. This is where James Griffin, remember, he was the one that did the tweets and got kind of reprimanded by the judge. Anyways, they are in contract for some kind of documentary, and so they needed one little tidbit of footage, and so his attorney recorded him and turned that over. And that's a big no-no when it comes to departments of corrections. They have protocols. You've got to know the people if you're going to see them. You can't be a stranger to them, or you have to be media, and you have to go through proper procedures in order to go in to visit them face to face as a media professional. So this was not approved. This was not approved at all, and they have to be. Now, I've got to be honest with you. I don't like the fact that departments of correction are telling the people there that they can't have media talk to the media. That's a problem for me. I'm sorry, but this is a jail that's most likely privatized, and I'm sorry, but I'd like to know what's going on inside our jails, if the inmates are being treated properly and fairly. I mean, at the end of the day, they're in there for just some despicable stuff, but if they're on our watch, we have a duty to take care of them and to take care of them well. That is what we took on when we put them behind bars. And so if there's any crimes going behind bars, I don't want them not being able to let people know that. And it really does bother me that there's this strict procedure for interviews with media. I do have a little bit of a problem with that. Not for the monetization value of an interview for a news reporter, but the fact that if there was something seriously and significantly going on behind the walls of the jail, them not allowing that inmate to tell somebody. Sometimes I don't trust the system. Let's be honest. There are some bad actors in there. I mean, we've just covered the Chief Burke, right? Talk about a bad actor that's in law enforcement and top brass, nonetheless. We've got problems in this country. And I just don't, to me, I think it's disgusting and despicable that we have our prison systems in private. People are making money off somebody's prison sentence. Like, I've got a whole moral problem with that. I've got a whole moral problem with that. I've been to prisons. I've never been to prison. I know that there's going to be people that would try to say that. I've never, ever been to prison, but other than visiting. I have visited prisons. And I can tell you that their food, like in the vending machines, are ridiculous. They're charging people $15 or more for a half-hour conversation on a video call. That is capitalization and privatization and costing families and people money, lots and lots of money, while lining their pockets for charging those people lots and lots of money. So I have a whole big issue with the privatization, and not just the privatization, the overcharging. You have a ramen noodle that costs 50 cents in a grocery store, and I have to pay $4 to give that ramen noodles to a prisoner. I've got a major problem with that. I've got a big, big problem with that. I got a big problem with them getting paid pennies on the dollar, but having to pay real dollar for decent toothpaste and toothbrush to have good dental hygiene. I've got a problem with that. I think it's absolutely despicable to have our government entities, such as our jails, making money for a corporation. Nobody should be making money off the backs of prisoners, period, or their families. I think it's a disgusting practice. I think it's morally reprehensible. That's just my viewpoints on it. Some people may disagree. The argument is if it's privatized, they're being treated better than if it was government ran. Well, how do we know? Because when it's privatized, we the people have no control. When it's government ran, we have the ability to do record requests. We have the ability to hold people accountable. We have the ability to hire and fire. We have the ability to do what we need to do to clean up our prison systems. When it is privatized, we lose. The American people lose that control. But I absolutely denounce the privatization of any prisons. Nobody should be making money off this type of stuff. Ever. Ever. And it really burns my grits is, why are prisoners given iPads? I can't even afford a freaking iPad. And we're paying for prisoners to have them? Whatever. Whatever. So I think that's about it. I think that was really all. I got several different articles back here. We're going to be going over Buster Murdaugh's comments on Stephen Smith, most likely tomorrow. He gave an interview several days ago, maybe a week at this point, and we haven't had an opportunity to cover it or get some commentary on it, so we'll do that. And I won't be taking so much of the time to talk about all these cases, but this is really my first real live research case in well over a week. So tomorrow will be a little bit better, and I won't have so much stuff to kind of get out to you, and we will open up the phone lines tomorrow. So those that like to call in, like Ruby and Turkey Man, you guys can call. Turkey Man, if you're watching, I did get your call yesterday. I'm so sorry. I was completely busy with stuff around here that I had to get done. I didn't have time. But I'll try to get back a hold of you either later this afternoon or sometime in the morning tomorrow. Today is going to be pretty busy for me as well. So for those that are out there, I keep saying we, because it's just the way I talk. And I am going to be working on videos today. I'm going to be working on a lot of other stuff, and we're still trying to get the search party. I just need Olivia to give me a time when she will be available for that search party, and then we'll get that broadcasted out. And I don't want anybody worrying. Every time we do something to help a family, we get those haters that always say, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, people are going to show up, they're going to beat you up, it's going to be deadly, blah, blah, blah. It's never happened. It's not true. I just want to spearhead that before we get involved, so the people that are out there, if you want to participate. I can promise you, more than anything else in this world, I don't do anything like this without coordinating with law enforcement. So I can assure you that we will all be very much safe wherever we go, wherever we search, and we just need bodies out there. So if you guys would like to participate, it's going to be coming up soon. You guys might only have a week notice to plan for the search party, and it's just going to be as many people we can get out there, we can get out there. If we got to do it alone, we'll do it alone. Remember, this is not something that's new to us. We get out there, we work, and we're just hoping that some people will help us work. That's basically the name of the game, getting as many bodies out there to clear as many areas as possible, and pray to God we can find Layla. And what's wrong with that? There's not one stick of anything wrong with that. None. Nobody on YouTube should be complaining at all about getting out to help find a missing 21-year-old girl. Nobody. And if somebody does, you need to start looking at them and why they are having such a major problem trying to find and bring a 21-year-old girl home. Nothing wrong with that at all. You're darn right. All right, guys. Well, you have an amazing Friday. Don't forget, TGIF. I'm so happy to see all of you guys in the chat today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you like that. This is what helps us get out. Our likes have been down quite a bit, so I've also been, dealing with hate channels and stuff like that. So every little thumb up. If you guys agree with the work we're doing and you're passionate about this true crime and you're passionate about helping families, please considering giving us a thumbs up. All right? So God bless each and every one of you. Until next time, please be safe and kind to one another, especially in the comment box below.